So you finally decided Charleston is the right place to move in 2026. You've picked out the right neighborhoods. You maybe even contacted an agent. But did anyone tell you about the insurance company that just pulled out of Charleston, leaving 8,000 of our residents stranded? Or did anyone talk about the downtown district that's absolutely exploding while parts of Mount Pleasant are struggling? I've helped over 5,000 families make a great move to Charleston. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the secrets that only the locals know about. Knowing the right and the wrong things about Charleston, well, that could literally save you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's start with the basics. Where Charleston is, what makes it special, and the different areas you could call home. Charleston sits right where the Ashley and the Cooper Rivers meet on the South Carolina coast. We're on this peninsula with water on 3 sides. That's why we get those great views from like everywhere downtown. The whole metro area covers 3 counties: Charleston, Berkeley, and Dorchester. It gives you a ton of options on where you can live. Downtown Charleston is on the peninsula, but most of Charleston is located in the surrounding suburb because of space and affordability. This setup by the water is gorgeous, but it also means dealing with something that catches a lot of newcomers off guard: flooding. I'm going to talk about that more later. Charleston has this amazing history and character that you just really can't find anywhere else. We've been around since 1670, older than most American cities by a long shot. You can just feel the history dripping off this place as you walk around. Our historic district has over 2,800 protected buildings. Nobody else has kept their history like Charleston has in the United States, and that's why Charleston feels so different from newer cities or other cities even on the East Coast. People actually live in these iconic Rainbow Row buildings. Those cobblestone streets and old mansions, you can't fake that kind of charm. And it's why people pay a huge premium to live downtown Charleston. All this history is why tourists flock here. It creates this magical atmosphere you just can't get in a newer city. The Charleston metro area has these totally different neighborhoods and suburbs with completely different vibes and price points. Of course, we just talked about downtown Charleston, the peninsula. That's the historic district and has fancy old homes and really the highest prices you're going to find in town. But you can walk to amazing restaurants, some of the best restaurants on the East Coast. You're going to pay at least $1 million for the privilege to live downtown. The next big suburb, which is extremely popular, is called Mount Pleasant. This is an upscale suburb where a lot of families settle because it has amazing schools, some of the best in the state, newer homes, and it's got great proximity to Isle of Palms Beach and Sullivan's Island Beach and downtown. The next area that most people consider is a place called West Ashley. This is an established area of Charleston with better deals, but it's still close to everything. West Ashley has a great starter home territory, and it has improving restaurants and shopping. Just past the Charleston Peninsula is what you call North Charleston, and it's because, well, it's north of downtown Charleston. This area is a transitioning area, meaning houses are more affordable. You're going to see some rapid revitalization in North Charleston, especially around what's called Park Circle. And Park Circle is just that. It's a circular park, and that entire neighborhood has really cool shopping and restaurants and is extremely vibrant. It's a very up-and-coming section of Charleston, and it's located in North Charleston. Next up, we've got James Island and Johns Island. These 2 communities I lump together, but they are separate islands and they're separate vibes. James Island is just south of the Charleston Peninsula, and it's closer to the water than West Ashley, but it's just outside the peninsula. So it's got extremely good location because it's close to downtown. And at the end of James Island is a beach called Folly Beach, which is extremely cool, very good vibes, fun beach bars. It's a great place to go. Just south of James Island, which again is just south of the peninsula, is a place called Johns Island. Johns Island is the largest island in the continental United States. It really feels more like a big landmass than an island, but it's an island because it's surrounded by rivers and the ocean. Johns Island has extremely large lots. It feels rural and farmland-like, and at the base of Johns Island is a beach called Kiowa and Seabrook, which are some of the most exclusive resort-style communities in all of South Carolina and really on the East Coast. The next place a lot of people are considering in Charleston is a place called Daniel Island. Now, Daniel Island is east of the Cooper, so it's close to Mount Pleasant. Daniel Island is a planned community that was planned in the 1990s and built out in the early 2000s and even today. It has a resort feel, ton of amenities, And it's like living in a country club with its own downtown. The most affordable option with still a super cool town feel is a place called Somerville. They call it Flower Town in the Pines. It's a family friendly and it's really easy on the wallet. You're gonna have a longer commute to downtown and to the beaches, which is why you can get there for mid 300s in prices. Now you might be thinking, these neighborhoods all sound amazing, but what's it cost to live here? That's what we're gonna dive into next. But before we get into the numbers, if we haven't met yet, my name's Matt O'Neill. I've been helping families find their dream homes in Charleston for over 2 decades, and I make videos every week showing what life is really like in the Holy City. If you're finding this helpful and want more insider info on Charleston's neighborhoods and the real estate trends, hit that subscribe button below. I'd hate for you to miss something that could save you literally tens of thousands of dollars on your move to Charleston. All right, let's talk about what your wallet is really in for when you move to Charleston in 2026. Charleston's cost of living surprises a lot of newcomers. Things cost more than you'd probably expect, while other things are surprisingly more affordable than you might think. Housing costs in Charleston are all over the map, depending on where you're looking. Right now, Charleston County's median home price is $589,000. That is well above national average, but still way less than places like California or some parts of the Northeast. If you want one of those beautiful historic homes downtown, they start at $1.6 million and go up from there. Be prepared for higher maintenance costs with those older downtown homes. Mount Pleasant is a premium suburb, and it's about $960,000 for your typical home, but you're getting newer construction and top-rated schools at that price. Somerville is the affordable option. It comes in at $355,000, less than half the price of Mount Pleasant, with really good schools and a charming downtown, but it's a bit further out. Goose Creek is also affordable, and it's about $370,000. It's about 25 to 30 minutes from downtown, perfect for first-time buyers and military families. So what's the good news? The market in Charleston has cooled off a bit from the crazy pandemic days, so you actually have time to think before making an offer. And sellers are willing to pay closing costs and a lot of concessions and fix most of the things on the inspection list, where just a few years ago, they weren't willing to do any of that stuff. So you've got a larger selection than we had a few years ago and more negotiating room. Now, one thing that shocks a lot of people moving to Charleston are the insurance costs. Nobody tells you this stuff until you already fall in love with a house. If you're in a flood zone, and chances are if you're moving to Charleston, you will be in a flood zone because 75% of all Charleston homes are, you have to have flood insurance in order to get a mortgage. It's not optional. Typically, you're going to see flood insurance in that $700 to $1,000 a year range. Now, your regular homeowner's insurance policy can go over $3,000 a year. If you live south of Highway 17, which is the main thoroughfare, it goes all the way from Mount Pleasant through downtown and through West Ashley, you're going to be in the wind and hail zone. That's going to add another $1,200 to $2,800 a year, separate from your original homeowner's policy and separate from your flood policy. That can all add up. You might be paying 60% more than most people in the country for your insurance. I've seen the surprise on buyers' faces when they get these insurance quotes. So don't be surprised. It's going to be a little bit more expensive for insurance. And the insurance in Charleston has actually been going up over the years because there's been so many named storms out there. For 2026, you're going to need a better plan, as insurance rates might jump 5% to 10% this year. Now, here's a tip. You can find a home in an X flood zone, meaning you have a minimal flood risk, and that could save you a lot of money. This is why I always show flood maps to clients before we even look at houses. Other living expenses you need to factor in include everyday costs that can add up, like utilities, about $230 a month and for a normal house. Or hot summers would mean your AC bill is going to spike, like in July through September. Healthcare costs about 16% less than national average. So that is an advantage to moving here. And we've got great healthcare in Medical University of South Carolina and Roper St. Francis. Groceries are pretty typical to most places in the country, maybe 2% more than the mean for the country. But the best savings are property taxes, especially people coming from California or from the Northeast. They typically see a huge savings in the property taxes on their home. A typical home in Charleston at the median price of the mid 500s, you're going to see property taxes, if it's your primary residence, in that $3,000 to $5,000 a year range. Now, there's a big break for retirees. There is no tax on Social Security, which is huge win if you're moving here to retire. That's why we have so many transplants moving from higher tax states who are retiring to Charleston. So if you add all this up, what does it really mean for your wallet? If you're living comfortably on about $100,000 a year somewhere else, you should aim for about $125,000 to $130,000 to maintain that same lifestyle in Charleston. Single people should target at least $85,000 a year to have a good life, and less than that, you might be struggling just because of housing prices. Retirees are going to need more than just Social Security to enjoy Charleston properly. So is it worth it? Most people who move here love it, but you got to know what you're getting into, and that sunshine tax is real, but so is the quality of that sunshine. The decision is going to be up to you. Now, these costs vary dramatically depending on which neighborhoods you choose, and some areas are growing so fast right now they might actually be your best investment opportunities for 2026. Next, let me show you which neighborhoods are exploding in value and that might be perfect for your situation right now. Some Charleston neighborhoods are absolutely exploding in price. Johns Island has grown like crazy, 126% since 2010. What was once rural farmland now has new communities popping up literally everywhere. Also, Daniel Island is doing really well with 143% growth in the same time period. It's gone from mostly empty land to a thriving community with its own downtown in just over a decade. Mount Pleasant has swelled by 7% since 2020 alone. They're literally running out of land to develop in Mount Pleasant. Somerville is growing slowly but steadily, almost 1% every single year, because families are hunting for affordable houses with good schools, and they keep building new neighborhoods out there. Goose Creek is seeing similar patterns of growth, and it offers value-minded buyers more affordable options within the Charleston metro area. For 2026, Charleston's housing market breaks down into these distinct price brackets. The luxury spots, that's $1 million plus. You're talking South of Broad, waterfront on Daniel Island, Sullivan's Island, Kiowa, and some parts of Mount Pleasant. These are going to be your luxury spots. These are the trophy properties with the views, with the history, and with bragging rights. Then you got your upper middle area. That's like $600,000 to $1 million. A lot of Mount Pleasant, interior parts of Daniel Island maybe, and nicer parts of West Ashley and James Island and Johns Island. This is great family homes with all the modern amenities. And then the last part is your more affordable neighborhoods. This is the $300,000 to $550,000. Somerville, Goose Creek, parts of North Charleston, Ladson, some parts of West Ashley, possibly, and then another neighborhood called Hanahan, which we haven't talked about, but sits in between Daniel Island and North Charleston. These areas are awesome for first-time buyers and young families because you can still get in. Each of these tiers comes with its own mix of commute times, amenities, and flood risks, which become even more important when we talk about the major economic developments that are reshaping Charleston's future. But knowing the market is only half the equation. What's it actually like to live here day to day? That's what we're going to be diving into next, and it might be the most important part of your decision. All right, now we're going to talk about lifestyle and culture. This is where the magic happens. The unique lifestyle and culture that makes so many people fall in love with this city, despite its challenges, is really awesome. Let me paint you a picture of what life could look like in Charleston. Charleston pulls in all kinds of different people with different lifestyles, creating this amazing mix that you really don't find in a lot of cities. You got your young tech professionals, since we've got over 1,100 tech companies in Charleston now, creating a vibrant young professional scene. Also, military folks stationed at Joint Base of Charleston with about 20,000 active duty military members and their families. Then we've got retirees who are escaping brutal northern winters. About 16% of all Charleston residents are over the age of 65. We also have Boeing and its over 7,800 employees. And Boeing then brings in all these ancillary companies that support Boeing and all of the people that work for those companies and their families. Just Boeing alone continues to attract people from all over with its high skill and high paying jobs. The other segment we have are doctors and medical staff at MUSC and some of the best medical centers in the Southeast. This brings in top talent from all around the country. The next part of the lifestyle in Charleston is the beach. A lot of people move here because of the beach. We've got such good beach access, and you can get to the beach in just 15 to 30 minutes from many of these communities. One of those beaches is Folly Beach. It's got a laid-back surfer vibe with great bars and restaurants. It really has the most relaxed culture of anywhere in Charleston with a funky local scene. Sullivan's Island is more upscale and quiet because it doesn't allow weekly vacation rentals. So this is a great community with a very nice beach. There's fewer tourists and more residents that visit Sullivan's Island. Isle of Palms is a super family-friendly beach with wider beaches and all the amenities. It's perfect for kids with plenty of parking and lots of facilities. Then you have Kiowa Island. This is the luxury resort beach, and it has some of the best golf in the country. Kiowa hosted the PGA Championship, and homes here are spectacular. Now, in Charleston, you can actually swim all 12 months of the year just 4 of them, you're going to want a wetsuit. So one of the major benefits we're going to explore is why people are willing to deal with some of Charleston's challenges, and we'll get to that in a little bit too. The next thing that makes the culture amazing in Charleston is the food scene. It's consistently ranked as one of the best in the country. We compete with cities 5 times our size when it comes to foodies. We've got a bunch of James Beard Award winners and nominees. These are literally some of the best chefs in America. Low country cuisine is incredible. Shrimp and grits, she crab soup, and oyster roast. You're gonna find amazing gullah geechee dishes that you really can't get anywhere else. This unique cuisine was developed by local culinary traditions, and it continues today. New restaurants just keep opening up. We just had more than 30 new spots open in 2025 alone. Charleston has fully embraced the food hall trend with several new market-style venues offering everything from New York-style bagels at Bagels by Kiss to Indian street food at Nan in Mount Pleasant and Vietnamese-inspired small plates at 2-Bit Club. You can eat at incredible restaurants for half what you'd pay in New York City or Boston. Another part of the lifestyle here are schools. Schools are a huge factor for families that are moving. Charleston County School District ranks 9th in the state of South Carolina. Academic Magnet High School is ranked number 14 in the entire country in the United States. Wando High School in Mount Pleasant is consistently rated among the best in the state of South Carolina. We've got several private options for schools as well. Porter Gowd, Ashley Hall, which is all girls, and Charleston Day School. For higher education, Charleston has the College of Charleston, as well as the Citadel and the Medical University of South Carolina. The next thing that makes our lifestyle so cool, the outdoor lifestyle. And that's really thanks to our weather. The West Ashley Greenway gives you 10.5 miles of paved trails right through the city, which is perfect for biking, running, or walking your dog. James Island County Park has over 643 acres with hiking trails and even a water park that the kids love to play at. Water activities are everywhere, from paddleboarding on Shim Creek to kayaking through marshes to fishing on some of the best waters on the East Coast. Charleston County has over 30 parks that cover 9,000 acres. Golfers also have access to 20 plus courses, including some world-class designs. With 230 sunny days a year, you can be outside way more than most places in the US. Now, all of this sounds amazing, right? But I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't give you the full picture. Charleston's got some real challenges too, and you need to understand both sides before deciding if Charleston is the right move for you. Let's talk about the pros and the cons that will actually impact your daily life in Charleston. Let's be real about why people are flocking to Charleston. We've got this gorgeous coastal setting with beaches and waterways everywhere that would cost millions more in other coastal cities. We've also got historic charm and architecture that are something you just can't find in the newer cities. And our job market is absolutely booming with Boeing, Volvo, the port, and all the tech companies. This creates opportunities across industries and skill levels. The food scene and culture scene rivals cities triple our size. And the winters are really mild. The lowest it's going to get is in the 40s, maybe once every 7 years we'll get a dusting of snow. We've got 230 sunny days a year. There's also this genuine southern hospitality that makes newcomers feel so welcome. You've actually never met nicer people than the people who live in Charleston. But Charleston definitely has challenges, and you need to know them before making a big move. First, we got flooding and hurricane risks. They are real, which is why insurance costs are what they are. Insurance keeps climbing every year because the climate risk continues to grow. The next issue is traffic. It can be especially tough on bridges during rush hour. The number one con, and I hear this from most people, is summer humidity and heat. It is no joke. You will sweat just walking out of your house on any day in August. Also, public transportation is pretty limited. You're going to need a car to get around Charleston. And tourist season can make downtown feel a little bit like Disney World on some summer weekends. Overall, you also have a higher cost of living than many southern cities. So the big cons really are the weather, and it deserves special attention before you move here. You gotta understand hurricane season, and it runs from June through November. August through October is the peak time, and evacuation is always a possibility. Even regular thunderstorms can cause flash flooding in certain areas. Then you got sea level rise. It's something to think about for long-term property ownership. Newer homes are being built higher with flood-resistant features, and the city is spending millions on drainage and pump systems to fight flooding. But it's a long-term battle, and it's not going to be solved overnight. Knowing your property's elevation is super important, since a few feet can make a huge difference in both your insurance costs and your actual flood risk. So what does the future hold for Charleston? All right, let's talk about what's on the horizon. Charleston is evolving rapidly with new developments, infrastructure projects, and economic shifts that will reshape the the metro area over the next decade. Understanding these changes helps you make smarter long-term real estate decisions. Our population growth shows zero signs of slowing down. The Charleston metro area should hit about 1 million residents by the year 2030. We're adding about 15,000 people every year. That's roughly 42 new people arriving every single day, enough to fill a small apartment building each week. The city of Charleston itself just hit over 150,000 people. Most newcomers are coming from the Northeast and the Midwest and California. They're escaping higher taxes, harsh winters, and the expensive housing. This steady influx keeps housing in demand and pushes development outward, creating new neighborhoods and expanding existing ones. It supports property values and makes Charleston a solid investment. Major economic developments are reshaping our future, creating jobs and driving neighborhood changes. Boeing is dropping $1 billion on a facility expansion through 2026, creating 500 new jobs. The Port of Charleston just finished its Hugh K. Leatherman terminal expansion last year, doubling its capacity. Our tech sector keeps booming with an average salary of $123,000, creating a class of high-income professionals looking for quality housing. So to narrow all this down, here's what we're expecting in 2026 and beyond. First up, steady price growth. We're expecting 4% to 6% annual price growth of homes through the year 2030. Not the crazy pandemic spikes, but solid appreciation. New construction will focus on Berkeley and Dorchester counties, where there's still a lot of land. Downtown Charleston will get even more exclusive and expensive. Somerville and Goose Creek will remain the go-to spots for affordable housing with improved highways, making the commute more reasonable. We'll see more emphasis on flood-resistant construction and elevated properties. Charleston in 2026 isn't just another coastal city, but a lifestyle upgrade that pays dividends if you play it smart. You now know exactly what you're getting into, from flood insurance that could cost thousands that nobody's going to mention to you, to the neighborhoods where your money is going to go the furthest. But the best deals in Charleston don't last. 42 new people moving to Charleston every day, the affordable Somerville homes and the ex-flood zone properties do disappear fast. If you're serious about making a move, reach out to me at sales@mattoneilteam.com before the spring market heats up and prices jump again. And before you pull the trigger on any Charleston home, you gotta watch this next video. I reveal the #1 mistake that costs newcomers thousands. Something 90% of people moving here don't even realize until it's too late. Trust me, this one thing can make or break your Charleston experience. Hey, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you on the next video.